there, this is Nikki Jackson from Southwest Tennessee Community College, and this video is covering examples from Self Check 3.1 for Math 1710. As you can see, it's dealing with a particular function, and we're going to be able to fill out not only this table, but be able to graph. At this time, it's best for you to have your TI-83 or TI-84 graphing calculator available so we can actually figure out how to receive this graph. So one of the things that we're going to do first is fill in that blank. So what you're doing is substituting all your values in. So that's what I'm about to show you shortly. So notice that you have values for x as -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. So right here, hopefully you guys can see it, so bear with me. We did the substitution into the original equation. So the first thing we have is -2. And notice how with the negative exponents, we did fractions. And notice how those exponents, once they're turned into fractions, are no longer negative. They're positive. So for the first one, we have 1/4. The second one, we have 1/2. For 0, we have 1. For the exponent of 1, we have 2. And then for the exponent of 2, we have 4. So that's what you're going to do to fill in the blank. The next one is the actual graph itself. Here's where the calculator comes in handy. So we know that for the actual equation that we're going to put in, it's going to be 2x. So once you cut your calculator on, hit your y equal key, hit clear just in case you've had something in there from a previous problem, hit the number 2. Now we're going to hit the exponent key, which is right here. It looks like a little triangle or incomplete triangle. You're going to hit that, then you're going to hit x. Hit enter to lock it in. Now we're going to hit graph. Notice that you have two options that could possibly meet for this particular graph. That can either be A or B. But notice the curvature of this. This one is not as curved as this one is. Also, you'll be able to match up according to what your graph was, what your points are. So when it was 2, you should have had 2. X is 2, you should have had 4. And when x is 1, you have 1. So there it is right there. Now right here, it has x is 2. So your correct graph is B. Next, for example 2, is asking you to find the domain. Now remember, the domain is relevant to the x-axis. So that means anything that is pertaining to x. Now you can use MathWay as one of your resources to actually graph this. But just in case you don't have access to that website, here's what you do manually, not graphically, or algebraically is more so the correct way to say it. You're going to solve for x. So if we're solving for x, we know that x will be 9. Because this is a logarithm, it will have some type of curvature, and it would not have a bracket because it would not include that particular number. Because of the curve, you know it's going to be positive because it's a positive 9. Hence, the notation would be 9 and then positive infinity. Your next one is dealing with the compound interest formula. So, briefly, take a moment to actually read the problem. Because you have to understand what is what. So when it is semi-annually, we know that n is 2. That means it's twice a year. When it is quarterly, we know that n is 4. When it is monthly, we know n is 12 because it's 12 months out the year. And then we have continuously. So that's a completely different formula. Note that the formula is already given to you. So pretty much we're doing substitution for each one. So let's see how we do this for part A, B, C, and D. So for part A, we know that we had a p-value of 15,000. We had a rate of 0.04 as a decimal, and our time was 5 years. So once again, we substitute everything in. And notice how I'm doing this step by step for part A, because the calculator is going to get kind of tricky when you do this. So here are your answers, round to the nearest 100. And for part C, I'm going to actually show you how to use your calculator for that one, because that's going to be such a small number that if you put it in all together, it's going to be a little bit different. So for part C, you have your rate divided by your compound monthly, which is 12. You're going to have your 1, which is your constant. Then it's going to be raised to the 60th power, which was your 12 times 5. And now you're going to multiply that by the 15,000. And you have your answer. But if you do it a little bit differently, your answer will come off slightly different. I think it's going to come off like way too big or too small. It's depending on the interest rate, but do it step by step. Then for part D, D is continuously. So once again, we're using that formula. Please refer to your notes taken in stcc.mylabs.com on how to do this. It's in regards to the formula. But this is all coming from your self-check. So to put it in your calculator, as is, you're going to put in your 15,000 over here on your left-hand side. So you probably can't see it right there. You're going to hit your second key and then your natural log, which is LN. So let me do that again. 15,000, second key, and LN, which is your natural log. Notice how your exponent automatically came up. Because it's grouped together, I'm using parentheses, so that'd be 0.04 times 5. Close your parentheses. And we have the same answer. Once again, it is rounded to the nearest 100, hence 2 decimal places. Going back to your notes that you should have taken dealing with logarithm and exponents, we're dealing with the properties now. So number 4 and 5, quickly jot those down so you're going to have an understanding of what we're about to do. Those are dealing with properties of both exponential and logarithm form. So for number 4, you have this given to you. Now my recollection or notation for it is a little bit different than what's given to you, but it's still the same format. So if you have a log of base of x to z and it equals y, in exponential form, it will be yx to the y power equals z. So one of the things that I would like to do first is identify what my b, x, and y are. So I know that my b is going to be my x value. Notice the location of your x. I know that my y, which is what it equals to, is going to be my 2. And I know that my b is 64. So that means whatever it is to this power, this formation, I'm putting in an exponential function or form. And there's your final answer. B squared equals 62. Do not solve for the variable b, even though you already know that it's going to be 8. But make sure everything stays as it is. Another example given to you that dealing with exponential and logarithm form is as follows. So once again, you're going to figure out what your x, y, and z are. So your x is 5, your z is 625, and your y is 4. Doing your log, you have log 5, 625 equals 4. So those are applications of your properties. Now we get to number 6 for your examples. Please refer to your calculator. So you're going to hit clear to make sure there's nothing else on the screen. For number 7, hit 7. Then hit your exponent key, which is right here where my finger is. And then you're going to type in 2.6. Hit enter. Notice how it's saying round to 3 decimal places. So when you round that, notice how this 6 is going to make that 0 or 1. The computer will mark it incorrect if you do not round correctly. So be very careful with that. Now we're moving on to the next example. Now this one, pay close attention to. You're still converting from logarithm to equivalent exponent form and vice versa. So here it is given to you with a little asterisk. So let's identify what your x, y, and z are. So we know that x is x. We know that y is 3. And z is going to be 1077. So converted in logarithm form, this is what you have. And then your last example from Self Check 3.1. You're still dealing with exponential form to logarithmic form. So here it is written down. Here goes your referencing. Please note once again that the way that I've written it is slightly different than the way you see it in my Labs Plus. But I know that my x is 5, my m is my y, and my z is my 4. And rewrite it in logarithmic form. You have 5 to the 4th power equals m. Once again, do not solve for m. Just simply put it in that particular format. So ladies, gentlemen, individuals, thank you for tuning in into the examples for section 3.1. Until next time.